Hi, and welcome to comp1050 Computer Science 2 using Java. My name is John Puopolo, and I'll be your instructor. I've been developing software professionally for 30 years, and I'm excited to be part of your learning journey. This class includes a ton of great material and information, and if you work hard and pay attention, you're going to be an excellent Java developer at the end of this course. So let's start out by taking a look at the Blackboard page and then walking through the course website and the syllabus. Okay, to get started, I'm going to take a look at the Blackboard site. As you might be able to tell, I'm using a Mac for this course. It doesn't matter if you use a Mac or PC. Both will work just fine. And let's start Chrome and go over to the Blackboard site. And once you've logged into Blackboard, you should be able to pick this course. And as you can see here on the side panel, there's a section for README for students, and you should have access to this page. Right here, there's a little description of the class, a link to the class website, which we'll take a look at in a minute, a link to a Google Calendar where I've posted all of the classes, the labs, the assignments, and the exams. So if you click on that, you should go into this calendar and you should have access to it. And if you click on any one of these, the classes, the assignments, the exams, you should see an invite to the Zoom meeting and information about dialing in and all the stuff that you need to participate in each class. We'll make sure during the first class or the first lab that everyone has access to the calendar and that everyone can see it. There's also a link to Wentworth's academic calendar in case you need that. There's an email I received from the university on guidance on online learning, so take a look at that. It gives you some tips. And then Wentworth has posted a couple of videos on checking your grades in Blackboard and checking feedback. So take a look at those when you get a chance. Most of the material for the class can be found at the class website. So let's go take a look at that. And here we have the class website. There's a menu across the top, but most of what you need is right on this main page here. There's a welcome section describing what we'll accomplish in this class, and then pay special attention to this note here that if you don't have the prerequisite, the comp1000 prerequisite, this will be a very challenging class. So just take a look at the description of that class and make sure that you feel comfortable with the material listed there. There's a class syllabus, which we'll look at in a minute. This is a link to the book. If you have the older version of the book, it's fine. If you have like the 10th or 11th version, some of the page numbers might not be exact, but the reading will be fine to use that edition. In terms of lectures, I've used a lot of the slides that came with the book, but I also have a bunch of my own slides that supplement the material where either the book didn't cover particularly well or not practically or was a little bit outdated. So between the slides that the book supplied and my notes, you'll have a great set of material. And there's also some code examples that we'll get to as the class progresses that are hosted on GitHub, and I'll make sure that everyone has access to those. I'm going to jump down to grading for a second. In terms of grading, your final grade will be based on 2 exams, each worth 15%, 3 programming assignments, each worth 10%, and a final project worth 40%. And in terms of the programming assignments, we'll be using GitHub Classroom. And GitHub Classroom is an extension of GitHub where I can create and assign programming assignments, and then you guys can download those assignments, work on them yourselves, and put them in your own GitHub repository. Classroom allows me to download all of the assignments and then grade them, which I will be doing at 5 o'clock on the due date for the assignment. So just in the back of your mind, remember that you have to have your assignments in by 5 p.m. on the due date so that I can grade them. And I'll remind you of that as we move forward. In terms of the final project, to make things manageable, You get to choose between either Mastermind, which is a classic board game, or Cribbage Counter. And if you're not familiar with Cribbage, it's a really interesting card game. And for those students who select that project, I'll explain a little bit of how the game works, and there's plenty of online resources. Because we're going to cover the projects later in the course, I'm not going to go into too much detail right now. This next section talks about the tools and technologies that we'll use for the class in addition to Java. Now, this list might look a little overwhelming. Don't get worried about that. We're going to cover each of these tools as the course goes on, and I'll make sure that we understand how all the tools work. We'll be using them in the labs. I'll answer questions. And you don't have to become an expert in any of these tools. They are just tools that we use in industry that are pragmatic and practical, that will aid you in your Java development. And then this last section is just some suggested supplements. This is not required at all for this class. It's just some interesting material. If you are, take a look at it if you want to. You don't have to at all, but I'm happy to answer questions about anything there. Okay, so let's scroll back up here and go take a look at the class syllabus. Okay, the class syllabus, because we're software people, I hosted the class syllabus on GitHub. You can see the address up here. My last name has a lot of vowels in it, and it's kind of hard to spell, and sometimes it's hard to say. So feel free to call me Mr. P. This is my Wentworth email address, and this is really the best way to reach me. I have a full-time job, and I'm busy a lot during the course of the day, but I want to be able to answer your questions. So I will be checking email several times a day. So if you have a question, or if you're struggling with something, or you want to set up a meeting with me, email is the best way to do it. Here we have a basic course description again with the prerequisites, etc. You've seen that. I don't want to belabor that. And you should read this. This is the standard Wentworth policy on grading and attendance and that type of thing. If you scroll all the way down, the interesting part here is there's another link to the Google Calendar, and then a week-by-week breakdown of the topics that we're going to cover, the reading that you should do in the book, the slides and materials that we'll cover for that week, and then any assignments and notes. And a couple things to notice here, as at some point about halfway through the class, there's no more assignments. What you'll be doing is working on your project. And it's important for several reasons, because the project is definitely a multi-week endeavor. And you'll be responsible for the design, the implementation, the debugging. I'm sure you'll have questions. And just make sure on your project that you allocate enough time to do the project. These projects are non-trivial, and they will take a significant amount of time to do. That's why I'm not giving you any other assignments. And that's why the project is worth 40% of your grade. So just keep that in mind as you plan out your time. And I think that's it. Hopefully this gives you enough of an overview of the class so that you feel comfortable, and I hope you're excited. We're going to learn a ton in this class, and I'm excited to be part of it.